castle of Justinian Caligari was just another day. I'm here to steal his stuff so I can keep the lights on. As usual, the 3 tiers of items will let me know which are worth more, just as we learned in training. The vampires come out when we run out of time and take too long to maneuver. When in the coffin, I don't bother them, they don't bother me. Vampires will die when hit with the flaming arrow. It's better to flee, but if I have to, I use the crossbow. I can either go in stealth or brutal, just trying to kill them vampires each chance I get. The portrait of Vondrack. The portrait is worth thousands. Satan would have said to have painted it himself to remind Vondrack how he looked before their deal. I would retire if I ever found it. However, no one knows where it is. Probably not in this castle. The Caligari family was an enemy of Vondrack. This house is a fairly normal layout, but I don't expect to move in a linear fashion. I need to keep my bearings about me by using select. Ant from Ant's Retro Game Armory. Today we're going to be playing one of my games, The Portrait of Vondrack on Game Boy. This game was developed using GBStudio, so I wanted to do a quick playthrough, explain to you guys some of the development and thought process behind the game. This game is currently in demo form on itch.io. Free to play, so please check it out. The link will be in the description. So this game is a game about a vampire thief. He's robbing vampire mansions to make money. So I'll talk a little bit about how I kind of came up with that idea. And this is going to be a micro-platformer game. So each micro level will be basically on one Game Boy screen for the player to navigate. So we'll go ahead and get started. So as I said, this was made with GBStudio. I've made about half the levels so far, but I think I'm going to do this playthrough to give away some of the secrets, but not all of them. So when we get to the full game, you'll be able to figure it out for yourself. So there's not going to be a lot of dialogue in this game, as I've mentioned in previous videos. I liking more to show players things rather than explain them through dialogue. So there's not going to be a whole lot of dialogue going forward. So the way I came up with this game is that I was working on a game called Roby, which the mechanic was he was a robot and he had a certain amount of charge, and if he ran out of charge by doing a bunch of different things, he would kind of go back to a checkpoint. Fortunately, I never really finished that game due to lack of focus with the plot, but I took that idea and came up with this off-the-wall game about a vampire mansion where if you ran out of time, a vampire was going to jump out and try to attack you. And then I came up with the thought that the player would be collecting up vampire artifacts and possessions so they could make money. So a link to this video, or I should say connected to this video, is kind of a tutorial on how to do a heads-up display, which we'll have in each scene. But this is the screen where you kind of learn what's going on here. So everything's kind of grouped into tiers. They get you different dollar values. So this is your little notepad from class. So pretty basic sense of progression here. We're talking about different items, different levels. We'll have these as you progress, of course. Let's get $2. Rare ones, of course. So we got a bunch of different things here: rings, books, mirrors, daggers, swords. Nice pistol. But here's where you learn about the portrait. So the portrait was in the epilogue there at the beginning of the video, so that's kind of hanging over the player's head. Something to think about. You guys can probably guesstimate where it's going to go as we get to the later levels. So our main character here does not think it's in this castle, but we shall see. So once we get into the first level, I'll kind of explain some of the mechanics. It's really basic, but I want to make this kind of like a puzzle micro platformer that would take advantage of small space. So everything's basically in 8x8 pixels, where normally your sprites would be in 16x16 for GBStudio. So something a little bit unique about this game. Alright, so we are ready to go. Yep, we're ready. Okay. So basically, before we even get started, I'll explain what's going on at the bottom. The heads-up display is showing a bunch of different values for the player. This is going to be the time for each level, which is not actually on a timer. It's actually the number of movements. So it's something a little bit different. I wanted the player to be able to kind of survey the level before they move and just do it that way. So if you see I move, that goes down. This is your health. Very basic. You can take 10 hits, but if you do fall down, like a hole or a pit, you automatically die. You have cross bolts, 30 of them. Fire those by pressing B. You have number of vampire kills right here. I think that's going to affect the player later on. Haven't quite figured that out yet. And also the number of the amount of cash you have will be shown here. So that's all achieved by tile switching. Definitely check out the tutorial if you want to know more about that. And then we also have something unique that I did. It's unique for me anyway. I put in a map. So you can do select to get to the map, and that will kind of show you where you're at in the castle. So that's something new that I did. And I thought it was pretty cool to have the player kind of know where they're at. If you look really closely with these two, you can also see that they actually somewhat represent the levels. Try to have some fun with that. But this can be achieved by pressing select. I may do a tutorial video on how to do that. It's really basic, but maybe a cool tool for the player. So we'll go ahead and get started. Basic controls here: A to jump, B to fire your crossbow. So you don't want to touch the vampire, but I'll do it to show you guys. So you can see his health went down. Got some spikes here. Should be pretty self-explanatory for the player. Alright, so when the time runs out, obviously we have a palette change here, and the vampire is going to come after you. So as I said in the beginning, you can either shoot him, or you can just kind of run away from him. So in the first level, I wanted to kind of give the player the option to do either one. So in that case, I just ran away. This one is not going to be so lucky. So I purposely set this one up to go off when you were down here. You can't really get by him there. Basically, if you run into the vampire every time, you're not going to make it too far, so you want to be able to escape here. So each level, I just kind of started drawing. Once again, this is another one where you can see I ran into the spike. You can do whatever here. So I'll go ahead and show you guys what happens if you shoot them. So if you shoot them, color goes back to be green, and you get a kill down here in your heads-up display. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with that yet. Probably when he gets to the end, that's going to have an effect on him somehow. I wanted there to be some variability in play, or at least the player could decide a little bit more about how they wanted to play. So I just dropped a block on him there. It's sometime programmed in. Thought that was pretty cool. If you're really slick, you can drop from that top block and make it to the bottom if you double jump. But anyway, I wanted to give the player a chance to play how they wanted to play. So one of my favorite games is Dishonored. On Xbox, Dishonored 2 specifically, and you can either be stealth in that game, or you can just be a brute and just you can basically just be a brute and just kill everybody. So in this level, I'm going to actually just fall down on purpose so I can show you guys one of the mechanics of the game. So right now we have 19 bucks, which is good. But I'm just going to go ahead and fall down. So this is the animation if you fall down. So on this screen, which I think I need to add some more description to, you can use your money to get back to the levels. So you're kind of giving back your treasures here so you can get back to a level. So only every third level is able to go back to, and if you don't have enough money, if you haven't been to the level first of all, and you don't have enough money, you can't go to that level, so you can't buy your way forward. So if you look real closely, we were on this level here. So you have to kind of go back and figure out where you were at, which is a little confusing. So let's see, this was the first level, second level, third level. Yeah, so we need to go back to this level. So you can buy your way backwards, pay $3 to return, for sure. So you can go back and gotta work your way up again. So that's something I came up with. I've gone through a lot of iterations with the damage and the falling, and I did have it originally programmed if the vampire touched you, you just kind of died. But the programming and stuff was not as clean as I wanted it to be. Oh, see, I actually fell that. No, that wasn't on purpose. All right, so. So these are kind of like the vampire henchmen for the Caligaris here. So this one's kind of interesting because you can basically do that. Alright, let's see if I can mess this up this time. It's pretty embarrassing when you fall on your own platform, you know what I'm saying? But if you watch the Ninja Nick video, you saw that it's kind of my deal. So one thing you can see with this level is that I changed the palettes a lot. That's something new for me. But I wanted to utilize the abilities of GBStudio in this case. So that's something I had fun doing. Alright, so levels definitely get more cerebral as you go, right? So you can drop down here and get a help. You gotta figure out how to get your way out. Some of the inspirations for this game are definitely Zelda. Specifically, Oracle of Seasons. I remember playing that game a lot, and there was all these cool puzzles in there, much like this one. So I'm running low on bolts. I need to get some. Alright guys, this is a dungeon level where you don't really know where these little doors go. I guess I know where they go, but you know, it's been a while since I played this, so I'm not exactly sure. I'm running out of time, but you see the vampires constrained to that block. So let's see if we can figure this out. There we go. Just you can see there's no way out. But keep in mind you can hit these switches with your darts. Alright, so another use of the palette switching here, color palette switching, is that you can kind of make the palette darker, which is cool. So I want to do that for some of these so-called dungeon levels. I'm not sure how I'm going to get by this dude, but actually I do not have a best. Running low on health, so let's do this. That's why you gotta watch the playthroughs to get all the secrets. This is another level I like a lot. So you can either drop this block on a vampire, or you can not drop the block. But if you drop the block, you'll have nowhere to get out, basically. So I cannot get hit again. I'm gonna have to pay my dues. Alright, so you saw what happened there. I actually hit that switch and it brought me back as a reset. It's a little safety net for the player. Forgot about that. And of course, the players are just going to want to instinctually hit levers. So that's my train of thought there. Now, this is a unique level, so I'm introducing a place where the player can actually get more time. So that added more time. Just something new. So as you can kind of tell, you can't really get out of here. Alright, I basically had to drop because I had no more bolts. So, that's something I need to update in the full game. Now I got 10 bolts. Paid some money. So let's get back to that level. Alright, so when you light all the torches, the door shows up. Just another Zelda inspired. So that could definitely be a strategy. If you run out of something, you could definitely just fall into a pit, pay the money, and get your resources back, so you can keep going. Something to think about. Something I didn't really think through. That could be helpful. So this is kind of like a chutes and ladders type of situation, which is interesting. So I'm going to do another piece of strategy here. I'm just going to use up all my time and just shoot these guys because just shoot these guys because it might be a little bit easier than going back and forth. But this is another one where you can choose to kind of go after your treasures or not. So another little neat thing here. You're going to pass through the other level, but above where you couldn't get to before. So this level is supposed to be pretty chaotic. You're getting shot at. It's upside down. It's real hard to tell what's going on, but you can drop this block and stop the guy shooting at you. So I thought that level was kind of cool. And then I fall immediately, of course. I think I can get back to that upside down level. Big bucks. So I noticed actually some of my items, I need to update the dollar amount, and then I got killed again. That's wonderful. Alright, made it that time. Nice. I think I need to update dollar amount some of my items, because I had a 5, 10, 15 system going. That did not work out because the numbers got too high. This is like a gas chamber thing. You kind of black out if you get by the gas. I'll show you that. Kind of a little blackout, something different. But you can choose to go after those items up there or not. Or you can choose to just go for time. It's really up to you. But, of course, you may need the money at the end. So that's just something to think about. I haven't decided exactly how it's going to work, but it behooves the character to collect the most money that he can. Alright, this is another Zelda-inspired type of thing here. It's like you saw that turning thing at the top. And the vampire already jumped us, of course. See the turning thing at the top. Really how you're going to get through here. There is a hint on the screen, which I'm sure you guys already figured out. Turn around this again. Okay. Just definitely try to think out of the box. Definitely try to think out of the box. So this one's interesting as well, since it's automatically turning. So, without telling you guys the secret, I'll show you the secret. So don't forget, even if the vampire's in the coffin, he can still hurt you. So this time it's another level where you run over the top. I thought that was a pretty cool thing. I remember that from Oracle Seasons as well. You could see different areas, but you couldn't really get to them. Alright, so that's the last level that's been developed so far. So that's our playthrough, Portrait of Vondrack. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments. I think I might do a couple tutorial videos based on this game. We've already had one. But we may do a map tutorial, which is pretty simple, as well as a run-through of different aspects of GBStudio as far as on update, on init, and on collision, things like that. So, hope you liked the video. Thanks for watching. Bye.